Welcome to our channel. Today, we're taking an in-depth look at a side of China's reform and opening up that often goes unspoken. While the reforms of the late 1970s and 80s brought unprecedented economic growth and global integration, they also led to a number of serious social and economic challenges. In this video, we'll explore how massive layoffs among industrial workers in northeast China, dire social pressures that in some cases have forced family members into desperate circumstances, rampant corruption leading to state-owned asset losses, and the ongoing crisis in resource-dependent cities like Shuangyashan have all become lasting scars of these sweeping changes. China's reform and opening up was designed to modernize the economy, encourage market forces, and integrate the country into the global system. In many ways, these policies succeeded in creating rapid growth and lifting millions out of poverty. However, while much attention is given to the successes, there is also a darker legacy. Economic liberalization dismantled the old plan system and led to the privatization of state-owned enterprises. This shift was meant to increase efficiency, but it also left millions of workers, especially in the industrial heartlands of northeast China, facing sudden layoffs and insecurity. Meanwhile, while some regions prospered, the social safety nets weakened and corruption began to take root at various levels of government and enterprise. And in resource-dependent cities, where once abundant resources powered local economies, the depletion of these assets has led to long-term decline. In northeast China, a region that was once known as China's industrial powerhouse, reforms triggered a dramatic restructuring. State-owned enterprises, once providing lifetime employment and comprehensive benefits under the Iron Rice Bowl system, began to shed workers in a bid to improve efficiency. Today, entire communities have been decimated by layoffs. Factories that once employed tens of thousands now stand almost empty, and the local economy struggles to transition to a market-based model. For many workers, the loss of stable employment isn't just an economic statistic. It's a human tragedy. Former industrial workers, many of whom spent decades building the backbone of China's economy, are now facing poverty and uncertainty. Their communities, once vibrant and thriving, have become ghost towns with little hope for recovery. This mass layoff crisis has created a social divide where those with secure jobs move on to new sectors while many are left behind with few opportunities for retraining or support. As the industrial heartlands wither, the social impact deepens. In many affected families, the loss of income has pushed women, and sometimes entire families, into desperate situations. Reports have indicated that in some communities, economic desperation has forced a few wives of laid-off workers into sex work as a means to support their families. While not the norm across the country, these individual stories are a stark reminder of the human cost behind economic statistics. This trend reflects a broader social crisis. When the state's promise of lifelong security fails and safety nets are dismantled or left behind, vulnerable members of society are forced to make unimaginable choices. These are not isolated cases, but symptomatic of the pressures in communities that were once guaranteed stability under the old system. Another major issue emerging from the reform era is corruption. With the rapid privatization and restructuring of state-owned enterprises, many officials and managers exploited the transition for personal gain. Corruption became widespread as mismanagement, embezzlement, and outright theft led to significant losses in state assets. Billions of yuan were reportedly siphoned off, leaving public enterprises financially crippled and the state with fewer resources to support social welfare programs. This loss of assets is not only an economic setback, it undermines public trust in the government and the reform process itself. As corruption permeates, it prevents the proper reallocation of resources, further hindering economic development and exacerbating social inequality. In addition to the challenges faced by laid-off workers and corruption, there is a looming crisis in resource-based cities. Take Shuangyashan, for example, a city once buoyed by its abundant natural resources. In many such cities, The local economy was built on the extraction and processing of natural resources. However, as these resources have been exhausted, the economic model has failed to adapt. Rather than a smooth transition to new industries, many resource-dependent cities have been left with environmental degradation, high unemployment, and a loss of local identity. The failure to address resource depletion has resulted in urban decline, with once prosperous communities facing a future of stagnation and hardship. The case of Shuangyashan is a stark example of how reforms can leave behind not only individuals, but entire regions unprepared for the next phase of economic change. As we've seen today, China's reform and opening up has been a double-edged sword. On one hand, it propelled the nation onto the world stage with unprecedented growth and innovation. On the other, it left in its wake severe social and economic challenges. Millions of industrial workers laid off in the Northeast, families pushed to the brink of despair, corruption that has drained public assets, and resource-based cities that continue to suffer from depletion and neglect. These issues raise important questions about the true cost of rapid economic transformation. How can governments balance the need for growth with the welfare of their most vulnerable citizens? And what lessons can be learned to ensure that future reforms protect not only markets, but also the people who depend on them? We invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe that the negative side effects of reform can be remedied? Or is this the new reality for many parts of modern China? If you found this video insightful, please like and subscribe for more analysis on global economic and social issues. Thank you for watching.